2, 1. Hey guys, it's Logan Freeman and
Alex Olson
with Clemens Real Estate coming to you live with another multifamily minute where we break down what's going on in Kansas City, multifamily, triple net lease investment sales, so you can make great buying decisions. We also bring you updated deal flow on a regular basis. I wanted to talk about the state of the economy here in Kansas City. And Northmark put out a great report that we will put in our BRSS system. So, Alex, let's make sure to get this report put in there. But some highlights that I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about. Obviously, there's a lot of economic volatility going on. The Kansas City multifamily market has recorded stable performance in the first half of this year. Vacancy rates have ticked lower while rents have actually still rose on a modest level. So local vacancy ended the second quarter at 4.4%, down 10 basis points year over year. I'm going to say it again. We are down 10 basis points year to date, and 30 basis points lower than the rate 1 year ago. So, I would say that not only are rents inching higher, both on the first and second quarters, the asking rents ended the first half at $975 per month, which is up 3% year over year, which you still see that happening or being reported in the previous reports that we talked about, Phoenix, Kansas City, Indianapolis. Now, the sales of apartment properties have slowed during the first half of this year, mirroring trends across the country. In deals that have sold, I'm happy to say that Alex and I have been a part of a lot of these. The median price was $79,900 per unit, while cap rates averaged approximately 5.3%. Okay, so that's where our market is on average. Now, Alex and I are never going to bring you a deal that's a 5.3% cap rate. 5.5, maybe, but 5.3, no way. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about cap rates and capitalization rates and how looking at cap rates last year and this year correlated with the debt that is available and the interest rates that are available right now and last year, how that is still, how people are still getting their heads wrapped around making really good buying decisions. So again, I talked about the market fundamentals, the transaction activity. Construction activity is another interesting one. We delivered 401 units year to date, and we have right around 4,000 units under contract right now. And a part of those 400 was a deal that I actually helped move my sister into this morning, which was the Yards down in the West Bottoms. And I'll tell you what, Alex, it's a really cool project down in the West Bottoms, right next to the stockyards. Got a lot of cool feel to it, a lot of history down there. They've leased about 50 out of their 200 units this year so far. So, I'm watching that project. I saw their finishes. I see the square footages. I know what they're paying, per square foot down there, and it's pretty high, I'm going to tell you. So, we're not bringing you 5.3% cap rates, Class A multifamily, bringing you more of the affordable and workforce housing style of projects. The last thing I wanted to talk about, and you can dive into the employment piece of this as well, but what I really wanted to talk about too was the multifamily sales, and then also, looking ahead. So, obviously Kansas City has posted really good, consistent property performance up to this point. The wild card in the market is still the labor market, right? And seeing where that's going to be. Also, obviously, watching the government and legislation is really, really important. But even through all of this craziness that we have had in Kansas City, it has held up really, really strong. One recent development I want to highlight, the Kansas City streetcar extension wins $50.8 million in federal transportation funds. And man, oh man, am I excited to say that it is right by our new office investment opportunity. And so Alex is in a blue room. Alex is in a blue room right now in our current office. He will no longer be in a blue room. We're going to have a podcast room where Alex and I actually might be able to be together and do this, which is pretty cool. But really exciting stuff for Kansas City. The streetcar expansion is going to bring it all the way down to 51st Street, I believe, and Manuel Cleaver Boulevard, which is really, really cool. So when you think about it, we've got the River Market, we've got Crown Center, we've got our Central Business District, and now we're going to be getting Midtown, which now breaks open all of these new properties that are right along the streetcar and in walking distance from the streetcar and the plaza as well, which should help two of my hotels that I have there too. So, the streetcar grant was a part of a $400 million total federal funding, which was allocated in 4 states: Arizona, Indiana, New Jersey, and Missouri. So really excited about that, man. I think that that's going to be big for the city. It's going to be really big for folks that are looking at their properties and the Midtown market in general. Any extra thoughts on that, my friend?
The streetcar, it on the surface, sometimes it appears like, what do we need to ride a streetcar for? And I think the thing you got to wrap your head around is the free transportation, how nice it is to hop on and hop off that thing. It's different than a loud bus. And that's what brings people together and to get excited about it, is the free train, especially when you talk about where it's going. And I think when you get down to the University of Kansas City, Missouri, so UMKC,
Yep.
That is a very important piece for that institution itself. We've been talking about how it'd be great if we had a research institution here that's driven through education, and that is a huge win for Kansas City. I mean, it's just going to open up I think the first line that went in was maybe, a mile or two, and this is double that size. So think about all of the development that's going to go on. $4 billion, I believe, or $2 to $4 billion was the first time when we had the first extension. And now we're probably looking at least that amount when we do this second extension.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm really excited about that and excited about just Kansas City in general. But what I'm even more excited about is that Alex has brought more properties this week to you, off market, signing exclusives. We got some deals. We need you to start making some offers. So, Alex, tell us about. Let me step back because I missed one thing before we get into the deals. Alex, I want you to walk through the 2 models that you put together on looking at how cap rates and the interest rates have correlated to cash flows and the assumptions that you've made. Again, this will be in our market commentary, but I also want you to walk through that before we get into the deal flow. Sorry, I jumped the gun just a little bit there.
That's all right. So, cap rate. Everybody talks about cap rate. I know most people aren't really necessarily buying on cap rate, but they want to know what's the cap rate that we're presenting and showing people.
Yep.
So if you think about the cap rate today, let's just settle on a number in Kansas City at 6.5% for these medium-sized apartment buildings. You take a 6.5% cap rate and you compare the cash flow based on the current lending requirements and the interest rate they're giving you. Let's just call that 4%, because that's what we have clients actually getting under 4% right now. So that's what we're doing now. So 6.5% cap rate on 4% debt. If you look back a year or two ago, when we were all excited about a 7.5 cap rate or 7.25 cap rate, that was great. However, interest rates were maybe a point higher.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you include that together, you gotta run your models based on your cash flow to really, because that's what I think most people are looking at is cash flow. So don't look at your cap rate necessarily. Look more at your cash on cash return. How you're actually leveraging your debt. I mean, this is cheap debt out there right now. Interest rates at the federal level are basically 0.
Yep.
So the Wall Street Journal prime rate, which is what most local banks and even national banks go off of, this year right now is 3.25%. 1 year ago, so 12 months ago, the federal funds rate was 5.25%. So that's 2 points higher. So your access to cheap debt is, a lot more available than it was in the past. Now I understand lenders have tightened up requirements, but still, when you work with lenders like what Logan and I have, I mean, they're pretty understanding, and they know that we're going to bring them clients that can close on deals. So look at your cash-on-cash return of where it is on these deals today versus where they were last year or the year before, and you'll see that they might even be better than where they were at that time.
Love that. And we'll break that down for you in our market commentary with those two models as well. All right. Now, since I jumped the gun, let's get into what we're all here for. We're all here for the deals. We need off-market deals. And once again, I talked to another group last week about how to find off-market deals. We're telling you, they're here. Work with us. You got to call us. You got to start building a relationship with us. Find out the story behind these projects. That's what's really, really important. Everybody can look at the numbers, and you can write a property off really quickly. We have done more properties and more projects for folks who are willing to get on the phone and to actually just find out the story behind a deal. Alex, tell us a story about this 16 units, my friend.
So I got 16 units, an exclusive off-market opportunity. It's not going to be on CoStar. You won't find it on MLS. And it's in Lee Summit, Missouri, which is, you've seen me there before. Beautiful suburb, top suburb. We've got investor friends all over the place say it's an A-class suburb. So it's 16 units. It's 2 8-plexes, and they won $1.785 million for it. So, I mean, if you want to be in, a lot of people, I want Johnson County. I really want to get into the Johnson County market. Well, if you've looked lately, you probably haven't been able to buy anything in there for a long time.
Yep.
Well, this is the next best market on the Missouri side. It's got very low taxes, very low owner expenses, all new roofs, all new HVAC system. The exterior is great. So this is an opportunity that you got to take advantage of that you can only get through us.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. And it's under-rented. Lee Summit has proven to be an extremely favorable market, especially because most of the new product being developed there is going to look like that modular, highly amenitized product. And there is a market for that, sure. But you want to be right underneath that, be that step right underneath that, be that Class B property in Lee Summit, somebody who's, not wanting to probably pay for all those amenities during COVID, but still want to be over here getting those school districts and being able to send their kids to great, great schools. So appreciate that, Alex. And we'll get that loaded up. That'll be a showcased property this week. We've got some news. Give us some news on the Raytown deal and what's going on with that project.
Yeah, so we featured a couple different times a Raytown 10 units, and the owner's done some reconsidering and has actually dropped their price. So before it was around $725,000 they wanted for it. Well, that number's come down. You got to check out our actual sheet itself so you can see the current price on it. But that's something you need to reconsider as well. I've got an updated pro forma for you there. And, for something under $1 million, 10 units, one building, it's a very solid buy.
Absolutely, man. And, I think it dropped enough to be considered a full unit of what it would cost, right? So now you're getting that deal for, maybe even you're getting an extra ghost unit in there because the price has dropped down. So please do reevaluate that project. Check out the 16 units in Lee Summit. We do think that that's probably going to go pretty quick. So just make sure that you reach out to Alex and I. If you want to learn more about what's going on in Kansas City, we will always talk to you about it. But we have a great, great depository. I think that's a word. I might have made that repository definitely is a word, but I don't know if that's the right word. We have a great bank full of multifamily market reports. If you're on the Clemens emails, we sent out a CoStar multifamily report that's much longer just today. But this one is a really kind of a snapshot of what's happened in up to the second quarter here in Kansas City that Northmark put out. And that's already uploaded in our BRSS system. So we've got some great things here. Alex and I are working hard to find you more multifamily properties to purchase. If you're interested in triple net, that's always an option. We've still got a few of those properties available as well. Alex, you have any last words for the folks here?
It's going to be a heck of end of the year. I can feel it. This week, I'm starting to feel it. I've seen more properties that are coming to us as exclusive, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I just talked to a commercial banker. He was on the podcast right before this, and he started to say that the credit markets are starting to unfreeze just a little bit as well. So I think the uncertainty is starting to pull back, and that might not even be because of what's happening with COVID. It might just be that more people are getting used to dealing with COVID. And so anyways, I think that we're going to finish the year out strong no matter what. We won't stop. We're not going to stop, and it's not in our blood to stop. So we're going to continue to bring projects to you. Please reach out to us. We have a buyer intake form, very easy to fill out. Once you fill that out, you get Alex and I's ear. And then we'll start to work towards finding you your next property. Alex, thank you so much again, man, for all of the hard work, for finding properties, for putting this together. This is value added, guys. Nobody else is doing this in the market. Until next time, checking out.
See ya.